Peter, as always, thanks for joining us on this midweek catch-up. Another strange week, long week for everybody at the club. I spoke to you last Tuesday and you were explaining how you weren't sure about the squad that was going to be available for the Elgin City match. Talk us through what happened following our chat then.
Yeah, it was a very difficult few days because we definitely thought we'd have enough players to play the game, which everybody was desperate to do, obviously, because of the disappointment of the game previous. So you want a game as quick as possible, as everybody will always tell you in football. So it was a blow to us because there was obviously different situations arose. We got a couple of injuries, not so good news on some of them. And obviously with a couple of cases, which obviously because of the COVID situation, we didn't know if there were heavy colds, flus. So there was a lot of testing going on last week. And obviously then would depend on the fact that we were travelling up in the cars individually, or you were going in a coach, which are not allowed. And obviously the risk was far too much for something to eat. There were simple things. But then, unfortunately, by the time, even when the game was cancelled, after the game was cancelled, we lost 3 players after that. So that shows you the sort of situation we were in. So, but it was disappointing. But probably if there was one time it could come, it was probably then, in the respect of that, because of the situation we were in. But obviously, we'd lost just a couple of the boys to international, which we thought was the only ones it was. We knew the boys that were out previous would miss the cup tie. But then when other boys added on to that, and then obviously we picked up a few injuries which we didn't expect, obviously, and top of some illnesses. So that gave us a massive headache. So to be perfectly honest with you, I think we had, come Saturday, if we'd have played the game, I think we'd have had 9 people available, and that was including 1 goalkeeper.
So in terms of where we are now, looking at the Ayr game, I'm guessing we're in a much more positive place.
We're in a positive place, and one, I mean, I've had 2 of the boys, I think, back down that's had the COVID, have been allowed to come back to train, but they've not been training fully with us because there's a protocol that goes ahead with that. So we've got to adhere to that for everybody's safety and health. So at least they're back in, as I say, within the group, and allowed back within the group, but they've not, as I say, not been able to take part with us. But we're hoping the next few days, once they get a bit in their legs, hopefully maybe by Thursday, they'll be able to take part. Whether that makes them available for the weekend, I'm not sure, because obviously it's been a long time out for them, in the respect of that. And there's a few other guys will still be missing, which unfortunately is a situation. But as I say, it's a free-flowing situation every day, not just for us, for every club's the same. You're testing every day at this moment in time because of the situation we've had for the last few weeks. So every day we're testing to make sure that somebody's not catching in. But then we're into a situation now when people pick up heavy colds and whatever, so you're really concerned about that because you don't know whether it's a COVID situation, so they end up missing a couple of days training, even though they're testing negative. So there's a situation like that that's going on. But listen, we just have to deal with it. I'm sure we'll have a squad available for the weekend. I'm absolutely positive of that, But as I say, it's not easy at this moment in time, because I say I'm not guaranteed what players are going to be allowed to play and what players are not allowed to play.
You were speaking in your first answer as well about some unexpected injuries. Are you able to go into any of those details at the minute?
No, one was a bizarre, obviously I'm not going to mention the names. One's bizarre, injury was at home, obviously, and one was in training, which, as I say, which happens. We've been unfortunate in that respect. Injuries were probably picked up a bit more in training than we have had in the games, actually. So they're a bit unforeseen, but as I say, there's nothing you can do with that. As I say, that's why it's hard enough with injuries, because at least the length of time period of going to be out, and if they're going to be missing or whatever. The illness situation is slightly different because, as you say, you're testing every day and people are feeling fantastic and normal, and then all of a sudden they test negative and it throws everything up. Everything's got to stop, and that's what we've had to do a couple of times because we're not sure till the test come back with everyone to make sure everybody's clear and everybody's allowed back into train. So that's been probably up and downside from it. But as I say, the injuries, there's a period of time out with a hamstring or a foot or whatever, an ankle injury, that you've got a rough idea of the weeks they're going to miss. But as I say, I'm hoping some of the other boys will be available. Once we see them back on the training Thursday, the training pitch come Thursday, we'll see physically where they are. And obviously, we'll get the 2 boys that's on international duty. But as I say, I don't think Vitus will be back to Friday, if I'm right. And I don't think Guy's back till early Thursday morning, travelling back the national team. So obviously we've got these situations as well because they've been away for the period of time from the group as well, so we'll buy it. But listen, we're not the only club that's like that. We understand that, and everybody's going through that situation at this moment in time. So hopefully we get through it and we come back through it stronger. And as I say, but I'm positive we'll have a group more than capable of getting in at the weekend and being prepared for the weekend.
From everything that you've said in your few answers there, obviously it's not been great with players missing training for whatever reason, but in a positive way, with Elgin's match being off on Saturday, has it given you the time to work on the training ground with the players and the group as best as you could to really try and rectify some of the issues that you saw in the previous matches?
Yes, well, obviously group-wise it's been a little bit difficult, as you said, but there's still enough in there. If you've got a defender, you've still got to work on the defender stuff. You've got midfielders, you've got to work on their stuff, and you've got strikers, you've got to work on them. So we've managed to do that. Sometimes that's been 6 players. So that's the situation we've been in, but we've still been able to work with them, and the boys have worked, their attitude has been excellent to it, and it's been unfortunate for them as well. For us as coaches, it's hard enough, but for players as well, because you like your full group, you like your teammates round about you, you like to be working on your team shaping and whatever, you like to be doing the things as a team, and as I say, but unfortunately we've not been able to do that, but the positive is, individually, we've still been able to get work into them. So, listen, we know it's probably been the same story we've been telling them constantly. Now we've got to put it into practice, and obviously the disappointing results and the goals we've conceded and the way we've performed has been a big letdown for us all. So we know that, and we have to perform. And that's the biggest thing. I know we've got performances within us. There's no doubt of that. We've got the players that's capable of performing. As I said, their attitude in the training ground has been excellent. Now we have to put that into practice on a football pitch on a Saturday or a Tuesday, whenever the games may be. I know we're more than capable, but we've not proven that yet, and unfortunately, it seems to be a broken record at this moment in time. But if we get our own house in order, we'll be okay. That's for sure.
We sit here and speak ahead of the midweek game, Ayr United against Raith Rovers, but I'm sure that'll give you a good indication of what to expect from Ayr come Saturday. Yeah,
I know Ayr have built a very strong squad in the respect for championship, so I know they've been very unfortunate in certain games. I've watched them, I've watched 4 or 5, and obviously I'm not having a game at the weekend ourselves. You get to see it. And as I say, I'm going down to the game to watch the game, obviously. So I think that's a bit, you learn nothing new in the respect of that. As they come and watch us, they'll learn nothing new in the respect. They'll know the players, they know what to expect from the players. So we all know the different systems and that the managers change, if they do change, if they don't change, we know the players. And I think that's the most important thing. It's like if you imagine you're a European manager now and you're watching games, you never know what players you're going to play against. You've got a rough idea of who each player is, and that's the exact same with us. We know all the players, and then it's come the Saturday, 1:45, when you get the team sheet and you've got a rough idea of what system or what shape they're going to be playing, and you know the personnel you're going to be playing against, So we'll be well prepared for that. There is no doubt of that. We'll be well prepared for it, whether they've been off injured or whatever. We still get information out to the boys. It's not as if it's a dead day in the respect of that. You've got the beauty of the computer and that sort of system now. You can send things out to them, and that's what we're trying to do. So it's every day is a learning day. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are, and that's what we've got to try and make sure that we're trying to do. And the biggest thing is making sure we look after ourselves first. I think that's the most important thing. Once we get our own house in order, as I said, then we can start worrying about everybody else, because we've got to do our things well first and foremost, and give obviously everybody the respect that we give every game. We know we're going against decent teams in every game we get into. I've told you right from the start, there's a piece of paper probably between us all, and they're all very, very difficult games. The biggest thing we've got to get away from is making it difficult for ourselves with our own individual errors and mistakes that we're making as a group. So we have to cut them out if we want to be successful, and hopefully that starts come Saturday.
Do you feel it's a case of just getting the 3 points no matter how it comes, just to try and build some confidence and momentum again, or do you feel a performance needs to come along with the victory as well?
I think anyone will tell you, and anybody that tells you any different, they'll be telling lies. But you love a victory first and foremost, because it doesn't matter how well you play, even if you're playing exceptionally well and you're not winning, people don't believe that you're progressing or whatever. And it's the same when you're losing. People don't think you're doing it, so there's a no-win situation, sort of thing. The biggest way you can do that is perform and win. But the most important thing is, if you say to me today, you're not going to perform particularly, but you're going to win the game, I'd accept that now, 100%. And I'm the same as anybody else. There's no use kidding that on. But obviously, we'd love to put in a performance and a victory. That'd be the ideal scenario. But as you said, at this moment in time, or at any moment in time, we're paid to win. we're paid to entertain, and that's what we try and do. And unfortunately, we've not been good enough to do that. We have to start performing and producing results and producing wins. But this group is more than capable of doing.
And you'll be hoping that there's a good support down in there on Saturday to really cheer the boys on.
Oh, it'd be fantastic. Listen, as I said, we'd love them to give them something to sing about. We know that. It was fantastic at Wraith, you know, and the game only lasted 15 minutes. I've said that. But listen, as I've said to you many, many times, I know what the support's like here. You give them something to shout about and scream about and sing about, they'll be right behind you. And that's what we have to do. We have to go and do that for them and put on a performance for them and get that victory for them. And nothing would please us better than doing that, you know. And as I say, we know the support that it's their club and that's what we're representing. We have to give them 100% commitment trying to win that game of football, and hopefully we can do that come Saturday.